Tonight's another big night. Sally Yates, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, former President Bill Clinton, and Dr. Jill Biden, all scheduled to speak tonight for day 2. Joining me right now is former White House press secretary, Fox News contributor, Sarah Sanders. Sarah, it is great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Your reaction to day 1 of the DNC last night?
Well, I think one thing is clear. The Democrats, Hollywood elites, and their liberal media allies have one thing in common, and they made it very clear last night. They hate Donald Trump. But let's look at the last 4 years. Let's look at the president's record of success. He's defeated ISIS. He's killed some of the world's most dangerous terrorists. He's remade the judiciary. He's cut taxes and rebuilt our economy. He's put a number of policies in place that have allowed America to become the #1 energy producer in the world. He's helped our vets. He's rebuilt our military and made us stronger so that our adversaries don't pick on us and don't mess with us. He is, unlike previous presidents, he's actually taken on China. He has done a record number of things to rebuild our country, to make us stronger, to make us more prosperous. The Democrats can say all they want this week, but I look forward to next week when we have a contrast with the Republican convention where we can point out the Democrats' new agenda of lawlessness and socialism, which is a very, very dangerous thing for this country and would take us back, not take us forward.
Well, you mentioned lawlessness, and Michelle Obama also said chaos, and she said, look, you know, all we get is chaos. He's had enough time to prove himself, but he's over his head. What I was struck by when she said that was, well, how come there are so many Democrat mayors and governors who won't stop the chaos, who won't stop the vandalism, who won't actually put their police forces in check to restore law and order?
Exactly. If you want to look at the chaos in this country, look at all the Democrat-run cities. That's where our crime is skyrocketing. That's where you have rioting and looting. And instead of stopping it, they're trying to defund the organization that could. I mean, it is mind-blowing to watch the hypocrisy of the Democrats last night talk about how they want to implement safety and empathy. They don't take care of the most vulnerable people in our communities. They aren't protecting our big cities. They don't protect the unborn child. The idea that they are the party of empathy and compassion, to me, is, frankly, it's laughable.
Well, how come so many Republicans are joining their fight then, Sarah? I mean, former Ohio governor, 2016 Republican presidential candidate John Kasich, among the speakers last night, he made the case for Joe Biden. Listen to this. Got to get your reaction.
America is at that crossroads today. The stakes in this election are greater than any in modern times. I'm a lifelong Republican. In normal times, something like this would probably never happen. But these are not normal times. We're being taken down the wrong road by a president who is pitted one against the other.
And I mentioned this in the last segment, Sarah. Don't forget, during the 2016 convention season, the Republican convention was in Ohio, and he was the governor of Ohio, and he would not go to the convention hall. He refused to attend the GOP convention 4 years ago.
Look, I hope John Kasich stays out in that field all by himself, because I think that's where he belongs. Republicans don't want him. And frankly, I don't think most Democrats do either. He doesn't have a lot of credibility. How can you claim to be a Republican when you are voting and pushing for somebody who doesn't represent anything that Republicans stand for? Democrats want bigger government, higher taxes, more government intrusion into your lives. They don't care about the pro-life movement. Everything that John Kasich says he stands for is the opposite of what Democrats embody. Read their party platform, John. I'm afraid for the people in Ohio if that's the kind of leadership they have. I think John Kasich needs to stay out in the field all by himself, right where he belongs, because frankly, the Republican Party doesn't want somebody who doesn't know who he is, doesn't know what they believe in, because he's willing to embrace things that are so far left and so far outside of what Republicans stand for. And frankly, what Donald Trump has been able to accomplish in these last 4 years.
All right, so give us a preview, Sarah. The president says he will officially accept the Republican nomination from the White House next week. The RNC reportedly seeking a permit for a fireworks show on the National Mall shortly after his speech. The Republican National Convention kicks off Monday with limited events in Charlotte, North Carolina. What should we expect from the RNC a week from today?
Look, I think that they can go out and tell President Trump's story. He has an incredible record to talk about, and they should do exactly that. Make it a contrast. Show the president's compassion. This is somebody who deeply loves our country and has fought every single day to make it better. Have the people that have been impacted by the president's policies, whether it's criminal justice reform, tax cuts, veterans, our military, all of these individuals who have benefited by President Trump, versus those who were hurt by the last decades of leadership or lack thereof from people like Joe Biden. Joe Biden's been in government for 50 years and didn't get anything done. Why should we think that he can show up in Washington and do a better job now? President Trump has proven it, and I think you'll see the faces of the policies that the president has enacted come to life at next week's convention. And I think it'll be a great contrast to the lawlessness and the chaos that comes from Democrats.
Yeah, you make a good point. It's really hard to take somebody seriously who says we've got all these problems, and yet you've been in office and you've been in Congress for 40 years. You know, what have you done in these 4 decades? Sarah, it's good to see you. Thank you so much. We will, of course, be following the RNC in a week as well, and we'll talk more.